You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself, and the storm will pass, and just walk away. Hello Mgtows, hello MRAs, hello females. I guess this will be pointed at the females in the audience, or any female that just wants to listen in and find out a little of the differences between a Mgtow and a MRA. One of the first differences I would have to point out is that MRAs generally focus on feminism, and they generally focus on the female in a negative light. What we try never to do here in Mgtow is focus on feminism. We focus on men. There's a broad, vast difference between the MRA hate for feminism and the Mgtow idea of dismissing. And I know that's a hard word, it's an unpalatable word, but that's what Mgtows are doing. We're simply dismissing women, a condition of being dismissed, an order of notice or discharge. And we talk about a dismiss. We are ending our employment, our service, and we are discharging ourselves. We are dismissing ourselves of all those duties. That's simply what we are doing here in Mgtow. It's a freedom we have in most countries, and especially here in the United States, to be able to move about. When you want to end a job, you go find a new job, or you just leave. And it's your right, it's your choice if the job is unpalatable. We find marriage unpalatable. We find the female disposition and entitlement unpalatable. It's not saying we hate it. We don't hate. What we find it to be is not for us, and that's a condition of being Mgtow. We find it gynocentric, unpalatable. But we can't just remove ourselves from society on this. We try real hard to do this, and what we do is we simply say we're walking away from all that. We don't date or date in those ritualistic senses. We're not PUAs, we're not these hounds running around, these cackling hyenas. And I wanted to ask people, and especially if there's any women out in the audience, when you look at an MRA that's complaining on one side about feminism and gynocentrism and the laws and all that stuff, but they still want to date, and then you look on another side and you see the Mgtows that really want nothing to do with women. We're just done with that. Most Mgtows are just done with that. And I know that's kind of unpalatable to be dismissed from that. But what we are doing is simply saying we are dismissing that from ourselves. It's a right men have, but we often get compared to the MRA, where they're always, anti-feminist, anti-woman, and that hate and that misogyny is glaring. And I think there's a vast difference in the Mgtow. The Mgtow just relieves himself from that things. And you got to ask yourself the question, if you were sitting in the center of a bar and there was 10 seats on this side and 10 seats on this side, and from you, the right and the left, and on the right there was 10 MRAs that were whining and complaining about feminism and doing all their things, but they still want you. They still want to use you. The PUAs want to use you for sex, women. The MRAs still want to use you for mating and all that stuff. And then you look on the other side of the bar, and there's a bunch of gentlemen, and I will say gentlemen, that really want nothing to do with you. Where do you feel safer? I'm sure the answer would be on the Mgtow side. But talking to them, being around them would be easier because they just don't desire women in that way. They want nothing from you. They want nothing at all. If your company is something special that you are selling, then that won't work either. For a Mgtow, we simply talk among the men and we relieve ourselves from those biological needs and desires, and we move along our way and we move out of that system of gynocentrism. There's nothing threatening about it. It's every man's right to do that. It's every woman's right to do that too if they want to become Mgtow and move out of that that gynocentric or the system or what you call the patriarchy. You have a right to do that and not date, not go out with men, not actively involved in male rituals and dating practices and male games. That would be okay, wouldn't it? But for a Mgtow, we find ourselves often the brunt of some attack because we don't do this. Because all we want to do is be left alone. You know, have serenity. Be left alone. Gather our wealth. You know, buy a house, do some things in our garages, maybe have a nice lawn, a nice garden, you know, with nobody else around. That's a beautiful thing. But for some reason, we're always attacked by the MRAs. The gay and lesbian communities are always attacking us. The feminist community seems not to mind us. But it all gets trying after a while. It gets very trying when you say, I just want to walk away from this fight. I just want to walk away from this thing. And people want to drag you back in it. Here in Mgtow, we just want to walk away from this fight. We don't want to be participating in this silliness. We are dismissing all that. We have dismissed it from our life. We'll end that employment and that service, and we'll discharge ourselves from that. We will make no consideration of it. We will rid our minds and dispel it from our thoughts. We've refused to accept or recognize these things. What's so bad about that? But, you know, the world we live in, everybody wants you to live in a community where others can gain and others can lose, and we play these communal games and these rituals and these tribal games. And that doesn't seem to work out for us. All we want to do is be left alone, for the most part. We discharge these things. We get rid of them out of our lives. It's not such a bad thing. We're not misogynists. We're not haters. We just want to be left alone. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's what I'd like to ask the other communities. What do they see that's wrong with being left alone? We just asked to be left alone. And that was the question today. What's so bad about it? What's so bad where they come to us? Why do they think that way? Why do they think we have to involve ourselves in those rituals, those mating and tribal practices we find ridiculous? We're not PUAs, we're not MRAs, we don't care about feminism. We don't care about things like that. We're not trying to date better or find more convenient ways of dating. We're just letting all that go. It's easy. It's easy to understand, Mgtow. Thanks a lot. That's all I wanted to talk about today.